Today we'll be solving chapter 10 of human biology, Sylvia S.Mader, the 14th edition. This chapter is about the respiratory system. Question number 1 is label this diagram of the human respiratory tract. A is the nasal cavity, B is the nose, C is this is the pharynx, D is the glytis. As you can see, this is the flip of muscles that covers the respiratory tract when we're swallowing food, so food doesn't end up in your trachea. And E is the larynx, which is your voice box. F is so F is actually the larynx, and E, it will be the glytis, which is basically like the hole between it's a hole between your vocal cords. G is the trachea. You can see it by these C-shaped rings around it. H is the bronchi. Trachea divides into two bronchi. And I is the alveoli. It can also be the bronchioles. The image is not that clear. Question number 2. How is inhaled air modified before it reaches the lungs? So air from the environment, your nasal cavity, it filters it and it warms it. So it must be humidified also. It increases its water content. So all of these are correct. What is the name of the structure that prevents food from entering the trachea? Epiglottis. Coming to question number 4. This structure is where the majority of gas exchange occurs. Trachea, larynx, alveoli, bronchial trees. So the alveoli, it's a place where it's surrounded by capillaries, so that gas exchange occurs between the alveoli and the blood. This connects the larynx to the bronchi in the lungs. Larynx to the bronchi, it will be the trachea. Which of these is incorrect concerning inspiration? So inspiration is another name for inhaling, and when we inhale, what happens is that our diaphragm, it contracts and moves down, our rib cage, it moves out and upward. This is all to increase the volume inside our thoracic cavity. So the pressure decreases and atmospheric pressure is greater than. This will cause air to be sucked up into the lungs. Pressure in the lungs decreases and air comes rushing in. The force of the incoming air increases lung volume. No, we said that lung volume, it is increased by the diaphragm contracts and moves down. Pressure in the lungs decreases and air comes rushing in. Yes, all of these actions are the ones that increase the volume, not the air. Air enters the human lungs because atmospheric pressure is greater than the pressure inside the lungs, and this will cause the air to come rushing in. Question number 8. The maximum volume of air that can be moved in and out during a single breath is called so maximum, I can rule out tidal volume because this is the normal amount. Maximum volume that can be moved in and out during a single breath, it's called the expiratory and inspiratory reserve volume. Residual volume is the rest. Residual is from residue. It's the rest of the air that stays inside your lungs. And vital capacity, actually the answer, it is vital capacity, because vital capacity, it is the maximum amount of volume that can be moved in and out. So what is option A? Option A, when we come to expiratory, so it's basically during expiration, in which you exhale air. So normally you exhale air, but expiratory value, it will measure the amount that you can forcefully exhale out of your lungs. The same thing with inspiratory value. It measures the amount of air that you can forcibly inhale into your lungs during, like, when you're taking a deep breath. But the maximum volume of air that can be moved and out during a single breath, it is called the vital capacity. Coming to question number 9. In humans, the respiratory center is stimulated by carbon dioxide located in the medulla oblongata, controls the rate of breathing. All of this is correct because carbon dioxide will make the blood more acidic, and this will be detected by the chemoreceptors. And it's indeed located in the medulla oblongata, which is part of the brainstem, and it controls involuntary actions such as breathing, heart rate, and such, and the small muscles. And of course, it controls the rates of breathing. When your blood is more acidic, meaning it contains more carbon dioxide, it will tell your lungs to work faster to basically supply more air to get rid of the carbon dioxide in the blood. Question number 10. These types of receptors detect changes in pH, which indicate variations in the level of carbon dioxide in the body. I just now mentioned it, and it is the chemoreceptors. The enzyme carbonic anhydrase causes the blood to be more basic in the tissues. Actually, this enzyme, what it does is that it breaks down the carbonic acid. When carbon dioxide mixes with water, it forms carbonic acid, and this enzyme facilitates this process. And what happens is that carbonic acid, it dissociates into hydrogen ions and hydrogen carbonate. So actually, since they're hydrogen ions released into the blood, it makes the blood more acidic, forms carbonic acid in the blood. Again, yes, it is correct. Actively transport carbon dioxide out of the capillaries. Transport carbon dioxide out of the capillaries is active only at high altitudes. No, it's active everywhere. You don't have to be at high altitudes. So the only correct answer here is it forms carbonic acid. It doesn't actively transport carbon dioxide out of the capillaries because carbon dioxide is actually transported passively, and that is by diffusion. Hemoglobin, question number 12. Hemoglobin assists in the transport of gases primarily by hemoglobin. It combining with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, combining with CO2 to form carbonoaminohemoglobin, combining with H+, it also forms hemoglobinic acid, being present in red blood cells, primarily by being present in red blood cells. All of these are correct. All of these are correct. It does do all of that. Question number 13. The binding of small amounts of carbon dioxide to hemoglobin produces carboaminohemoglobin. And by the way, most of the carbon dioxide is transported by the carbonic anhydrase pathway. A small amount is transported by hemoglobin. Respiration and health. Question number 14. Which of the following is not true of obstructive pulmonary disorders? So pulmonary disorders are divided into two categories, you can say. We have restrictive and then obstructive. Obstructive ones are basically ones that prevent air like going to your lungs, kind of like let's take the example of asthma or asthma. So it's basically your bronchioles, they are what we can say, their diameter is decreasing, thus less air is allowed to go into your lungs. Option A, air does not flow. So I want not true, an incorrect statement. Air does not flow freely into the airways. This is correct. Vital capacity is reduced due to loss of lung elasticity. Disorders include chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and asthma. Again, this is correct. Ventilation takes longer to occur. So the vital capacity is reduced because ventilation, it's obstructed unless something is done to get rid of the obstruction. It's not gonna occur. Question number 15. Which of the following is not an infection of the upper respiratory tract? So the upper respiratory tract is until your larynx, your voice box. So tonsillitis, it's the inflammation of your tonsils, which are part of the upper respiratory tract. Sinuses, against your sinuses. Dysmedia, it belongs to the upper respiratory tract. Bronchitis, which belongs to the lower respiratory tract. So its infection is part of the lower respiratory tract. This was the last question. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any question, please drop it in the comments.